Hey guys, Gambling CS here with another knife review. This is of the Buck 110. It's a classic. So I'm sure there's plenty of reviews out here, which is one of the reasons why I haven't really gotten around to it. Same thing with Delicas and a lot of the other knives I've done. It kind of bugs me to review knives that my opinion is probably already out there. You just do a quick search. Anywho, some people have been asking me to do this, so why not? Alrighty, Buck 110. Well, this is a staple of the Buck's, whole knife line. You really can't go wrong with it. It's an amazing knife for the price. Actually, well, the price has gone up a little bit, so it's getting a little bit lower, but still, this is one of the knives that, if you take care of it, you can pass it down generation to generation to generation. This knife, I believe, started in the 70s, so it's got a decent amount of history. The only thing that's changed are the different options you can get with it, but I mean, overall, it's pretty much the same. They also switched from, I think Camillus used to do the heat treats on the steels, and then they switched over to Paul Boss, who does all the heat treats for Buck. He does amazing work. Actually, you know what? I have my Buck Vantage Pro right here. Lanyard I did for it, and as you can see, it's got the Paul Bose sign right there, the flame, the Bose. Anyway, he does all the heat treats for Buck, and all the knife steels come out amazing, which is why Buck is famous for their 420 HG steel. That in itself just becomes into another level of knife grade, I think. Anywho, for the knife itself, general construction, it's pretty hefty. It's solid brass with wood scales, brass pins. This is called a 4-pin model, I believe, because it's got the back spring pin showing. Before, I believe they used to hide them inside the wood scales, so you wouldn't see this, but that's changed. Like most brass, it gets discolored. You can see mine. You can see the hidden pins. Those don't tarnish that quickly, apparently. Some other knives that are more like gentleman folders have hidden pins. Older model Balisongs, like PCC or Pacific Cutlery, what Benchmade used to be, is famous for that. They would have this, and since this model is the 42, but theirs was the number 10, PCC 10, and the pins would be hidden pins, so they would be polished down to be pretty much identical with the handle, so you wouldn't see it, which I think is pretty cool. Still pin construction, which is bothersome, but that's another issue. Anyway, this knife is completely solid. It's got a lock back, or what's technically a back lock, meaning that instead of lock backs have the push part, the push lever right in the middle, and then if you go any farther down, like the lower section becomes a back lock. Like I said before, 420 HC steel on the blade. It's amazing. Really is a great economic buy. This cost me about $40 from, $40 from Oshkosh or something, one of those stores. Anyway, the blade is hollow ground, clip point design, with a nice wedge on top. Mine came a little dented. You can find it right there. Can't really see it that well. There you go. You kind of see it. It doesn't really bother me that much. The blade came a little bit rough, and that was just from the grinder marks. They didn't polish it down as much as I would have. So I took it to My Stones and polished it up, so it has a nice cutting ability. Let me actually, I've got a piece of paper right here. Nice strips of paper. So it cuts amazingly well. This is pretty much what I have in my survival pack. I think this is one of the best beater knives you could really get. No pocket clip, so no carry. It comes with a sheath that you can get either a nylon or a leather one. The leather one's packed away. Excuse me, throat's getting dry. The leather one I got is packed away, so I'll bring that out maybe later. But it's really, it's alright as a sheath. I really don't like it because it's not the sheath design that I prefer. When you make the leather sheaths, you could either fold it around the blade and then have it splay out, so you've got kind of a rim on the outside. Some people prefer that. I personally hate that. I want it tucked in on the back and then riveted, but that's just personal preference. The kind this knife came out with is the splayed out version. It's easier to manufacture that way. It kind of bugs me. So that's just my little rant on that. Buck actually has a little thing on its site where you can customize Buck 110 with oh man, excuse me. You can customize the Buck 110 with whatever you feel like. You could have an S30V blade. You can change out the scales, have engravings on it. You know, anything you can imagine. These could be switched to nickel silver bolsters, which I think is pretty cool. The thing I was actually looking at was nickel silver bolsters, S30V blade, and blue diamond wood, which I think will look pretty interesting. So that's just one of the many options they have for it. Like I said, it's a pretty classic knife design. Overall blade length, get my small ruler out here. That's right over 3 inches. You can see this ruler is exactly 3 inches, so it's like 3 1/4-ish, around that area. Blade stock, 1/8 of an inch. Really good stuff. You know, thick blade. I've batoned with this. It works really well. The weight of the handle, which is actually pretty heavy, it's about 4 ounces. The weight of the handle when you're batoning with it actually helps you push down and keep the blade level, so that it doesn't angle up and ruin the blade or mess up your baton. Aside from that, the action's phenomenal. Just if you don't mind tarnishing on the brass, then it should be good to go. I highly recommend it. It's a phenomenal knife. A little big for my taste, and it doesn't have a pocket clip, but you know, there's just issues for personal preference. So, just want to get this review out and show it to whoever's watching, all of like 3 of you. Anyway, I want to show you that. Oh, working on a knife project. This is going to be my second knife I'll make. I'm going for a friction folder. It's pretty similar to what's called the Sword Peasant folder. X-Acto has videos on it, and you can find it on Google probably. Actually, Kylie at Knives and Stuff made one in 01 and D2, or no, 01, just 01. It looks phenomenal. His is actually a 5 mil thick stock, which is ridiculous, I think. It's just beefy blade. Anyway, so basic design is something of this sort. Blade and handle can vary really, but the real mechanism is that if you could see right there, the blue dots, those are where I'm going to be drilling in for the pivot. I still need to tap this for the pivot hole, but once it's in, it'll look like that pretty much. The idea behind it is that it doesn't have a lock. The tang on the knife right here will be held down by your thumb when you're cutting, and that'll lock it in. You'll have a pin against it as well, so that when it pushes, it won't slide backwards either. But it was kind of like the first hand-locking knife, really. Instead of slip joints, which have the back spring, it's your hand that's actually holding it in. I think it's a pretty cool design, so that's what I'm going for. Just have to finish milling out the rest of this deer antler. I think it'll look pretty cool. But it's a lot of work. Not a crappy blade to go with it. Anywho, just wanted to show you this. I think it'll be pretty interesting, and I'll show a couple of videos of it once it's finished. Yeah, so Buck 110 review and the Colin made slip joint whatnot. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.